Hello everyone, and welcome to Planet Zootorial. This is an interactive tutorial series where you will be able to create this in the end. We are going to go there via landscaping, pathing, barriers, buildings, and also foliage, and you will be able to build alongside me with the blueprint provided in the description down below. But now let's jump into the episode and have some fun. Hello again everyone, and welcome to the second Zootorial. This is pathing today. In the last episode we have done the landscaping of this wonderful area over here, and you will be now pleased hopefully with this episode of pathing. As many of the fans of the Planet franchise will know, pathing is a little bit tricky. let's put it tricky. I think this is fine. In this 5-episode series of tutorials, you will be able to create this. And if we are done, you will hopefully have learned about the major things that you need to know to be a master, at least in terms of the raw tools in Planet Zoo. So now let's get started with the pathing. So first of all, let's discuss the three options of pathing. We have again that the interface is to the bottom right of your screen, just next to the terrain we worked with in the last episode, and now we use the path. So you have a lot of control over the path in this toolbox down here on the right hand side, but there is first of all basically three different types of paths. You have the path, which is the normal guest path everyone can use. You have the queues, which you will use for your transport rides, where basically people can queue up obviously to get into the ride. If it's a bit more busy, you want to make a longer queue and whatever. For the theme park fans, this is nothing too new. If we look into the next one, which is a fan favorite for this game, it's the staff pathing. This is a path that is only allowing your staff members to reach certain areas faster and also not seen or basically invisible from your guests, and this is what you want to make sure with the building. So we keep this in mind for today's video as well. Let's keep a little look into the option to the down right side here. So first of all, we have the angle snap, which is what you can expect. If you build a path, let me just quickly show you before we build. There is an option that you can move this completely free, 360 degrees. There's no limiting factor in here. You can do whatever you want. If you go into an angle snap, it will rotate this one in 15 degrees steps. If you want to be less creative or whatever, or less heavy steps, go to 30 degrees and so on. The least you can do is 0, which doesn't do anything, which is weird because you can go to 11 degrees, which is the lowest you can set. Yeah, that's basically the angle snap. You can increase or decrease the length. You can see if I increase this, one piece is going to be quite long, I should say. But yeah, let's go to the I would always recommend to work with the shortest one anyways. It's a lot safer, to be honest. And then you can do the width option, which is basically creating a wider or more narrow path. As you can see, this is 10 meters wide, 7 meters, and it goes all the way down to 4 meters of width. This is kind of where you have to juggle around if your area will be more busy or less busy. It's a little bit, down to yourself if you want to work with it or not. But I would always recommend to be in busy areas. You want to have like wider paths, and in only areas where people go from one point to the other, where on the whole path is nothing to really, look at or, stand for a while, where people are only moving, you can also use more narrow path. Anyways, this is just a little bit of a basic thing. You can build the path completely free, as I'm doing right now over here. But to create bigger plazas, for example, which we're going to do in a second, you can use the align to grid option. What it does is basically it takes this one piece you are selecting over here, and it creates a grid from the path. It always uses the direction information from the path you've set down. This one, as you can see, is now creating this square-ish grid over here. If we build, first of all, and you just declick this to do it again, if we just first of all build another piece that goes into this direction, and we do the same thing again, you can see the orientation of the grid changes according to the main direction of your path. This is important to keep in mind when you build these plazas. Once you have the right direction you want to use, you just click on here and you can basically paint this grid as you would expect. Pretty easy, nothing too special. It is something really useful when you want to create bigger areas. As you can see, this is now, you can go as big as you want and do some kind of stuff with it. But before we use this, let's kind of first of all delete this thing and go through all the options. So the next one on the right hand side over here, you have different options that are not really directly affecting the way it looks, but it affects the way it works. So we have the flattened terrain option. That means, I hope that this doesn't do the trick. It will do. If I click here now, it automatically flattens the terrain to this option, and that looks kind of super ugly. We don't want to have this. We don't want to flatten the terrain. What we want to do, we want to have this built on top of the terrain. As you can see, if I click so, it doesn't manipulate the terrain at all. Great, this is what we want. Then we can change to path supports. If we raise the path, which we can do with holding down shift and then just move your mouse up, there we go, you can raise the path. And if you click, there is automatically created a support below that path. If you want to be creative yourself and you don't want to have this one, you can just easily click nope and click again. This support is gone, and you can do whatever you want and build your own support if you want. Basically, the path is now floating. Okay, let's undo this. Again, as always in the Zoo game, Control and Z will undo your action. Okay, great. Now, the next things in here is the curved slopes. Curved slopes are very useful when you want to make like a nice looking staircase that is not completely straight. As you can see, I can now bend this while going up. If I declick this one, you can see basically I can do whatever I want. It always keeps being straight, which sometimes is very helpful to deactivate this option. If you just want to build a straight stair and your mouse is kind of, you know, always creating this roundish, wobbly things, I would highly recommend to just click this for a minute and then you're good to go. We have then different curbing options and railing options. This is basically creating a bit of the appearance of your path. Let me just quickly show you. The curb is basically what you have to the right and left hand side of your path. It kind of rounds it off on the ground. It might look sometimes really nice, but it also makes up for something to struggle with once you want to do your own fencing. It might be in the way or you can't do it that seamlessly. I would always recommend to deactivate this and build these things on your own. As you can see over here, this is nicer because now you can blend in whatever you want. Okay, cool. Now the last option is obviously the one thing that is missing is the railing option, and you can actually create this as well. Now you don't have the curb, you basically have already a pre-created fence, so to say. The fences are always dependent on which path type you want. It's a bit of a pity. I would always love to change both, but it depends on which path type you use. It has a different fencing option. As you can see, some of them have the same, some of them have different ones. You can see there is this wooden option. Unfortunately, there's no way to mix and match them, which would be a great thing, but yeah, well, still it's a cool option. So if you're lazy and you don't want to build your own fencing, you can just click through and see what is your most favorite one and then change the ground texture or whatever. This is pretty easy, nothing too fancy, and this rounds off basically all the areas in here which the options are marking. Now we're already a long time in, but this was very important because all these things will now be used, and this is going to be a lot quicker now. So please make sure if you want to participate in this build, because the path is the only thing that you won't have when you download this blueprint. You can download this and make this interactive, but the thing is there is no path, so it will be highly recommendable to watch especially this episode to make sure that you build the path exactly like I do in the blueprint. So what I want to do, first of all, I'm starting off with the little entrance over here, and I'm just building my way up into this area. I want to kind of have the 9 meters wide path. Here we go. Now I don't want to go entirely to the corner. I want to be kind of over here, I think. But now what I do, and this is very important, I am creating this area first, because otherwise I will create some weird corners and stuff. So what I do, I delete this and hold down Control, which lets you build this without connecting. If you hold down Control, you can create a new piece. So I want to create a new piece over here, and now I deactivate the angle snap to be able to go very, very tightly to this area. So here we go. This is nice. Just want to make sure that this is going around. Now I wanted to have this a bit more plaza-ish looking. So as I said, we can now go in and use the grid, but as you will see, there is something not working. We will fix this in a bit. But first of all, I don't want to make this plaza too big, so I'm fine with having this size. So you can see it's nicely done. You have a little bit of a plaza over here, but now we need to make this look a lot more organic. So I don't want to have this ugly edge over here, and I also don't want to have this ugly edge over here. So what I'm doing is I'm smoothing the path of the plaza out. You can do this by basically going into the corner over here. You have to move it in until you create exactly the more or less 45 degrees junction over here. Just create the junction and right delete it again. So the junction is created. Now right click on this piece again and you can see the path automatically smoothed out. Now we have a lot more organic looking path over here. This one over here is a lot better because we need this to create this wonderful area on top here. Now before we do this, I'm using this top area and create another little plaza. So let's do a smaller piece. I want to go with the smallest available so I have a bit more control of the grid. So what I want to do is I want to kind of test first of all as how close I can go to this crest on the right hand side. So it seems that this is the closest I can get. So let's go and select this middle part over here and just build one. So this defines in which direction our plaza will go. Now use the align to grid and now build basically whatever you can on top of here. Go as much into this area as you can. So this is looking kind of nice. Now we do the same trick as we did down there with the 45 degree smoothing option. The same one goes over here. Just create one here, delete it again, and just do the same over here. This gets a bit more finicky. Maybe you need to build this first and then do it there and delete this piece again. Here we go. Now this is how it looks. I don't want to have it this way, so I leave this open and smooth this out a bit more to create an even closer connection to this area over here. I don't want to have it too close because there can be a bit more landscaping or maybe some of the you know, notification billboards and stuff. So I'm pretty happy with how it looks, and I'm also happy with this thing over here because we can hide this away. So this is the lovely plaza we have on top. Now we need to connect this, right? So what we do, we basically go and first of all, you can see there is a bit of an issue here and this looks weird. I don't even know what this is. Maybe I wasn't too careful with landscaping. So it always is helpful to use the smooth tool again. Here we go. Just smooth this out. Now this looks fine. It doesn't look that there is anything in particular. But now, as you can see, there is a bit of a wobbly space down here. I'm also willing to smooth this out a bit more. So here we go. Don't do it too much though, because it will create weird edges. Now, what we will do, we will use not this connection or this connection, because it will always create some weird faces. I do put one in the middle first, and this will be the thing I will use to create this. So one here, and the same down here. Okay, this seems to be a bit of a problem anyways. So there are two options to get rid of this issue. First option is to go in here and try to create another, you know, area over here, which seems not to work. So the other option could be, we could try to make, okay, it doesn't work that way because of the water volume. So we have to work with what we have to work with. This is sometimes how it is with passing. This is a live tutorial. I'm not doing this 10 times. So what we want to do, we connect this, and I now choose to use a bit of a wider path here to make sure that the connection looks a bit nicer. So let's just move this very carefully in. There we go. Here we go. Just a bit more with the connection. This seems to be the best we can get. All right, done. So this is done. It's kind of a nice transition, I have to admit. It's not looking too bad. So basic things are done. Now, what we have to do next is we have to make sure that everything is in the right texture, because I don't want to have this texture in this area. It's for the red pandas. This is a more Asian looking one. So what I want to do is I want to have this kind of, what is this even called? Log rounds path on top of here. Just click and change it. I don't want to have it on this way down here anyways. I want to have the more or less like soil path going up the hill. And this area down here might be nicer looking in like red brick area. So this is what I'm painting it like. So here we go. That looks a lot nicer already. So we have the path done. You can always use also the path to get some highlights in. So if you want to make sure that this looks like a bit of a nicer transition, you can also use these textures. But I want to go with my like a little bit more natural looking path. Talking of natural though, there is actually a natural path option in here. You can see there are in total 4 variants of it. 2 of each have no texture creating thing and one with. The difference, I'm gonna quickly show it to you in here. So if you create the natural path, it basically only has these outlines over here, which you can't get rid of, no matter if you have curb activated or deactivated. It doesn't really change a thing. And it uses the terrain which is below the path. Anyways, if you choose this one, it automatically creates some kind of soil down there as if there people would be running. You don't really have that much control over which they take. They always use the predefined from the map. So that's how this one looks. And there's a second version which is using log kind of pieces on the sides. I don't really have a preference of them, to be honest. You can see that there is also another one with, again, the same texture painting option, but yeah. So actually you only have a difference of the 2 railing pieces or the 2 fencing pieces and the different variants of with soil or without soil, but I don't want to have them anyway. So this is how you can create some nice looking natural paths. Maybe we could use it over here, but honestly I like my path more. So here we go, we've done this. Awesome. And the only thing we need to do before this episode's already done, we need to create the staff area, and therefore I'm willing to create my path here a little bit further, so I know where to go. You know, this is then where I want to go, just to make sure where my area is leading and I know where to connect my staff pathing. So this is the habitat. People look from over here and from over here, so I want to put my backstage area here. This is what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to quickly define where my backstage area is. And this is going to be done by just putting down my staff path. And I want to have this, I think I want to have this starting over here. What I use is align to grid to make sure that I have a nice area, but first of all define which direction the grid goes, as we have learned already, and I'm just going to create a little bit of a plaza here. So that's it, nothing more than this, and the only thing I need to do now is connect this to the main path, which I'm doing over here. Yeah, well, I think we are basically set for this episode. We have kind of created everything you need to know. The only thing we haven't created is a staircase, but I have shown you how this works, and you know, that's the only thing that is not in here in total. You could have done this here with the stair, obviously, but I wanted to have this naturally done because this kind of lines up better with the terraforming tutorial we have done. Cool. So as this is done, I think it's time to round this episode of Pathing up. Again, if you guys have questions about pathing in total or in general, just put them down in the comment section down below. I'm more than happy to answer them. And also make sure to click into the playlist, because then you will be able to watch all the episodes of this tutorial. If you are very early on, might not be released right now, because I can't upload them all at once, because basically YouTube doesn't allow me to send out the notifications then, and well, you know, don't want to bother with you. Hope you enjoyed this wonderful tutorial, and yeah, let's create some more in the next one. Next episode is about barriers, first of all, barriers and fencing. So let's do this in the next episode. Hope to see you there, and until then, have a great time, guys, and bye bye. Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video, I really do appreciate that. As always, make sure to check out also my social media channels. You can find me everywhere under @Rudi_Rennkamel. Also big thanks to the crew, you can see it on the left hand side right now. And as always, if you want to see more, you click that card on the top right. And if you want to stick around because you like the stuff you've just saw, whatever, you know what I mean, just click that sub button, which is to the bottom right of the screen right now. But everything else I can say is have a great time and see you next time. Bye guys.